The stage was set. Bright lights washed over the tell-all set as the host leaned forward with a knowing smile, ready to ask the question every fan had been waiting for. "So, are you two still together?" In that moment, the tension was almost unbearable. Madeleine and Luke, one of the season's most talked about couples, sat side by side, their body language speaking volumes before a single word escaped their lips. Their love story had been anything but ordinary, filled with passion, arguments, cultural clashes, and emotional highs that kept viewers glued to their screens. But Tell All Part 2 wasn't about the past. It was about the truth. A love story that defied logic. When Luke first packed his bags and moved across the world for Madeleine, many people questioned whether he was chasing a dream or walking into a storm. Friends warned him, family worried. Even fans debated whether their connection was built on genuine love or impulsive chemistry. Yet Luke didn't hesitate. To him, Madeleine wasn't just a girlfriend, she was the future he had imagined. Madeleine, on the other hand, had always been fiercely independent. She knew exactly what she wanted: commitment, stability, and a partner willing to prove that love wasn't just words, it was action. And Luke delivered. Eventually, wedding bells rang, promises were exchanged, and for a brief moment, it looked like their whirlwind romance had transformed into a fairy tale ending. But if 90 Day Fiance has taught viewers anything, it's this: the wedding is never the end of the story. It's where the real drama begins. The shocking detail fans couldn't ignore. As cameras zoomed in during the tell-all, eagle-eyed viewers noticed something instantly. Luke wasn't wearing his wedding ring. Social media practically exploded. Was this a silent confession, a sign of trouble, or simply an innocent choice? The host didn't dance around the topic. The question came quickly and directly. Luke took a deep breath before explaining that life after marriage hadn't been as simple as they expected. Adjustments had to be made. Big decisions were necessary. At one point, he even relocated to focus on building financial security for their future. But distance, as every fan knows, can test even the strongest relationships. Still, Luke insisted that the move wasn't about escaping the marriage, it was about protecting it. Madeleine nodded, though her expression carried a mix of strength and vulnerability. Cracks beneath the surface. Throughout the season, their relationship had been a roller coaster. There were explosive fights that left both questioning whether love was enough. Jealousy crept in at times, turning small misunderstandings into emotional showdowns. Trust had to be rebuilt more than once. And then there were the financial pressures. Starting a life together is never cheap, but when one partner sacrifices everything familiar, the stakes feel even higher. Luke often carried the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, determined to ensure their future wouldn't collapse under uncertainty. Meanwhile, Madeleine wanted reassurance, not just financially, but emotionally. She needed to know that she wasn't fighting alone for their marriage. Two strong personalities. Two different fears. One fragile union. The moment of truth. Then came the answer everyone was holding their breath for. Yes, they confirmed. They were still married. Still together. Still trying. The audience let out a collective sigh, but the relief was cautious. Because while their words painted a hopeful picture, the emotional undertone hinted at something more complicated. Love was still there. You could see it in the way they looked at each other during quieter moments. But so was uncertainty. Not the kind that destroys a relationship overnight, but the kind that whispers difficult questions at 2 a.m. Fighting for love in the real world. Marriage, as Luke admitted, is very different from dating. When the excitement fades and everyday life takes over, couples are forced to confront realities they never anticipated. Cultural differences don't magically disappear. Communication takes work. Compromise becomes a daily exercise. For Madeleine and Luke, learning how to function as a team has been their biggest challenge, and their greatest growth. Instead of walking away when things got hard, they chose to lean in, to talk more, to listen more, to understand that love isn't proven during perfect moments. It's proven when everything feels uncertain. Fans remain divided. Not everyone watching was convinced. Some viewers praised their resilience, calling them proof that messy love can still be real love. Others weren't so sure. Critics argued that their relationship often seemed fueled by intensity rather than compatibility. They wondered whether passion alone could sustain a lifelong partnership. But perhaps that's what makes their story so fascinating. It doesn't fit neatly into a box. They aren't the stable couple everyone envies. They aren't the disaster everyone expects to implode. They exist somewhere in between, where most real relationships actually live. A subtle shift. One thing became clear during Tell All Part 2. Both of them have changed. Luke appeared more grounded, less impulsive than when viewers first met him. Experience had softened his edges, replacing wide-eyed romanticism with cautious determination. Madeleine, meanwhile, radiated maturity. She spoke with the confidence of someone who understands that marriage requires both strength and patience. Together, they seemed less like starry-eyed lovers and more like partners learning how to navigate storms. And maybe that's a better foundation than fantasy ever was. So, what happens now? If the tell-all revealed anything, it's that Madeleine and Luke's story is far from over. They are still writing it, one decision, one sacrifice, one difficult conversation at a time. Will distance make their bond stronger? Will the pressures of real life pull them apart? Or will they surprise everyone by turning their unpredictable romance into lasting commitment? No one knows. But one truth feels undeniable. They didn't choose the easy kind of love. They chose the kind that demands courage. The bigger picture. Their journey reflects a question at the heart of the other way. How much are you willing to risk for the person you love? Luke risked familiarity. Madeleine risked her heart. And together, they risked stepping into a future filled with unknowns. Tell All Part 2 didn't give fans a perfect ending, but it offered something far more real. Hope, mixed with uncertainty. Because sometimes, staying together isn't about having a flawless relationship. Sometimes, it's simply about waking up every day and choosing each other again. And for now, despite the doubts, the distance, and the challenges, Madeleine and Luke are still making that choice. The next chapter of their love story remains unwritten, but if their past is any indication, it will be anything but boring.